Alrighty, guys. Looks like we're starting on week 12 already. We only really have one more week after this, pretty much. And so I will go ahead and do the tutorial for this week. Let's see. Share screen. One. Share. Okay. So basically, you can download the files right here on our Moodle page under week 12 required files. There they are. These are straight out of the book. So we're going to start with this creating an assembly drawing, and all the steps, as usual, are in a PDF right here. So these are the steps I'm following. You can either follow these steps or you can just watch this video as I go through all of them. So I'm going to start with this creating an assembly assignment right here, right out of chapter 9 from the book. Alrighty. And you're going to see 3 viewports in here, all right? Pretty much the same things that we've been working on in the previous weeks. We got Jordan Court, Madison Lane, and Logan Court, all right? So first step, open up the creating an assembly drawing. Save it to your H drive, obviously, so you have access to it, right? So first thing we're gonna go do is go up to this assembly toolbar right here on the home tab. So assembly, create assembly, all right? And we're going to name it. We're gonna call it subdivision road, all right? Subdivision road. We're going to set the code set style to all codes with hatching, okay? And then hit OK. And we're going to go to this top right viewport, and let's just go and place on the side where we have some space here. So click, and you'll notice it has this little red line here. Basically, that's the baseline of the profile of our sub-assemblies that we're going to attach to it. All right. So the next thing we're going to go to is on this home tab, we're going to go to this tool palettes icon right here. So go ahead and click on that guy. And then you'll notice all these guys little popping up. If you want yours docked like mine was, you can just kind of drag it over here and it'll dock it to your window. And what you can do, we're going to make sure that this is set to civil metric subassemblies. All right. So if yours is docked, it'll be on the top. If it's not docked, it will be on the left side right here. So you can just right click, go to civil metric subassemblies, all right? And then go down to the basic tab here. All right, there's a bunch of different assemblies that we can add, or sub-assemblies we can add to our assemblies. So we got our tool palettes window open. Go ahead to the basic tab. We're going to click on basic lane, all right? Click on basic lane, and now we're going to attach it to this red baseline here. All right, so click on that guy. And you notice this is a lane. This is the center of the road. This is like a lane of the road. All right. Next thing we're gonna do is go over to basic curb and gutter. And then go ahead and click on this red dot on the top where we're going to attach the curb and gutter to the road. All right. So there's the lane, the curb, and the gutter. All right, all attached. And you can do the same thing and click on it twice and it'll make the left side of the road too. But another way you can do it is just select both of these and then go up to modify subassembly up here and just click mirror. And then click on this red guy right here and then it will mirror them. So then you only really have to create half of the road and then just mirror it over the center if you want it to be symmetrical. All right. Now what we can do is we can actually create a corridor using this assembly. Basically this corridor is just going to apply this profile to an alignment pretty much, all right? So it's going to combine an alignment and our assembly together to create a 3D road basically. And that is called a corridor in Civil 3D. So we're going to create a corridor, all right? So in our home tab, we're going to go to corridor. Create corridor window should pop up. All right. We're going to name this one Jordan Court. Jordan Court. Okay. And we are going to select under profile, we're going to select this Jordan Court FGCL. All right. This is the profile that we've previously made in other week's assignments. Okay. So Jordan Court FGCL. And then assembly, we're just going to click this assembly that we just made, which is this one, the subdivision road assembly. All right. And we're going to uncheck this box here, set baseline and region parameters. Make sure that is unchecked and hit OK. And what you can see in this bottom left viewport is that it created a road basically. So it's following that alignment along the profile that we made. And so here's our, right lane, left lane, curb and gutter. That's what those little magenta lines are. Alrighty. So that's pretty neat. So if you wanted to, modify this, which we're going to do next, we're going to change this intersection right here. So instead of just having 2 lanes, we're going to create a 3rd lane, like a turning lane. All right. So next thing we're going to do is instead of having our basic lane, we're going to change this to basic lane transition. So in your tool palette, just click on basic lane transition right there and then hit R. All right. The R means replace. So now we're going to replace these lanes with the transitionable lanes. Okay. So now just click on this right lane over here. And now it's asking me, oh, select an attachment point for our curb and gutter. So we want the curb and gutter to still attach right here. So just click on that same circle it was attached to before. And now we're going to do the same thing on this left side. So click on this lane and then click on the attachment for the curb and gutter and then just hit enter. All right. So basically the only real difference between the basic lane and the basic lane transition is that this transition can be modified to make it wider at certain areas, okay? So if we want to be specific about how all these different sub-assemblies are named, you can click on this red guy right here, this baseline, go to assembly properties, go over to construction, and it has all the components, all these sub-assemblies that are associated with this assembly, okay? So we're going to rename these so they're not all just the same name, okay? We want the right side to be called right lane, okay? So you can just right click, rename right lane, and then rename the curb and gutter to right curb, okay, and gutter. Do the same thing for the left side, right lane, oops. Oh, whoops, this is the left lane, sorry. Left lane, left lane. And I'm having trouble typing today. Left curb. Okay. And then hit OK. Should be renamed. All right. Another thing we're going to add to our assembly is called a basic side slope cut ditch. Okay. So basically it's just going to, this is basically our transition from our existing surface to our road. Okay. So we're going to go back over to this tool palette dealio and go over to this basic side slope cut ditch right here. Okay, click on that guy. And what we're going to do is we're going to attach it to the edge of our curb right here. This is where we want to tie in the existing ground, our surface, to our road. Okay, so just do that for the right and left sides. Like that. All right. So we're just telling Civil 3D that we want to tie in our surface to this road. right at that top of that curve right there. Okay. And we're going to rename this also. Okay. So go over to assembly properties, construction, right. We're going to rename this as the right daylight. It's another name for where it ties into the road. So this would be the left daylight. Oops. Left daylight. Okay. Okay. So basically that's all we're doing for this first drawing. So go ahead and save that guy and then open up this other one, which is basically just a continuation of the previous drawing. It just has a little bit of a few changes in the drawing. So go ahead and save the old one, open up this applying corridor targets one, and you'll notice that it's pretty much the same thing. All right, right where we left off. Okay. So when you have that guy open, go ahead and select your corridor, which is this magenta line down here. And you'll notice that the difference between this drawing and the previous drawing is that it has this red polyline right here, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to change this transition lane to actually go all the way to this red polyline up here for our turning lane, okay? So go ahead and select this magenta line here, which is our corridor. All right. And then click on this edit targets toolbar, right? Edit targets. Select a region to edit. Now we're just going to click on the inside. All right, that's the region we're editing, the inside of the corridor. Okay. So right next to the left lane subassembly right here, and this transition element where it says none, just click right there and it'll open up this new window. So make sure and set this to feature lines, survey figures, and polylines. All right. We're telling Civil 3D that we're going to select a polyline to snap to, which will change the side of our transition lane, okay? So change it to that, select from drawing. All right, now we can just click on our line and then hit enter, okay? And then hit okay, okay. And if you notice, there it is, see, it scooted over the road. Now we have a little bit more width there for a turning lane into this intersection, okay? To bring back that same menu, if you exit it out, you can just select your corridor, go to edit targets, and then click on the inside right here. And we'll go back up to this target mapping window, okay? Now the next thing we're going to change is where we tie in, or what surface we're tying into on the outside, all right, our daylight. So go ahead and click on the surfaces right here and select EG, which is our existing ground, okay? So the subassembly is attaching to our existing ground, okay? Our daylight. And then just hit okay. And then you'll notice that it added a few lines on the outside here, all right? So basically this is just how it's going to tie into the existing ground. Kind of just change the edges of the corridor a little bit, all right? So the next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and select your corridor, all right? Click on corridor surfaces right here, okay? So now we're gonna create a surface from our corridor. So go ahead and make sure that this data type and the specify code are both links and top. Click on this guy, the far left icon, and then hit this plus button. Okay. Now we're going to rename this to Jordan Court FG. Whoa, it's not doing anything. Okay. Jordan, no, come on. Jordan Court FG. Okay, so we're actually creating a surface from our corridor here. All right, so go ahead and hit corridor, or Jordan Court FG is the name, apply, okay. Rebuild the corridor. We want to rebuild this corridor when this little thing pops up. So rebuild. Okay. And then you'll notice it has all these funky tin lines in here, okay? So basically we created a surface on top of another surface. So we don't want it to look like this, all right? So what we can do is go back into that corridor surfaces menu and go to this boundaries tab here, all right? Right click on corridor or Jordan Court FG, and then click on this corridor extends as outer boundary option here. Apply, rebuild corridor, okay. All right, so now we created a surface. If you look on this bottom right viewport, you can see these gray tin lines here. So that is our other surface that we created with our corridor, but it isn't cutting across the entire, area. Oops. All righty. And so I believe that should be it. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention in this first drawing, actually. So if I go back here, all right, and go into this assembly. So go back to assembly properties, construction. If I go to this right lane and go into this input values, one thing that is nice to know that you can change is this transition, okay? Right now it is set to hold, offset, and elevation. Other options you can do are all these ones here, but let's just change it to hold, grade, change, offset, all right? And then do that same thing for the left lane, all right? So change this input value, transition, change that to hold, grade, change, offset. Okay, and now you'll see how it looks different. Does it look different? Let's try with this drawing actually. Okay. Let's go in here, find our subassembly. Assembly properties, construction, right lane. Okay, hold, grade, change, offset. Let's change it to a different one. Hold, offset, change elevation. Let's just see what that one looks like. This is just for the sake of experimentation. This is just one thing I forgot to mention in my instructions, but you don't really need to do this. I just want to show it to you. These are just different settings that you can have. All right, let's just see how this looks now. So it looks a little bit different. Obviously it's not as consistent, right? So if I change that back, let's see how it changes. All right, right lane, hold, grade, change, offset. Hold, grade, change, offset. Okay. Alrighty, I guess it didn't do much. anyways, that's the gist of it. If you have any questions, let me know. Sorry I didn't upload the video from week 11. I was waiting on YouTube. It was taking a while and I forgot to add that link to Moodle, but now you will have a couple videos to do this week or to look at as a reference to do your homework for weeks 11 and 12. Yep. Well, thank you very much for everything. And let me know if you have any issues. All right.